what is the feeling that, that comes up from having this challenge. So a lot of clients who come to us, work really hard and make a lot of money, but don't feel happy with their career, or they've kind of worked a great career and then think, how did I get here? I haven't put any planning into it. Or it's the kind of thing where you've been talking about making a change for a long time, but never really gotten started on it. And you get a lot of ideas, but never follow up on one. Sometimes it's just like, how do I get started on the job search? Or I'm on the job search and I'm not having very much success. So what resonates with you in terms of kind of the feeling that brings you here today? Pop it into the chat if you don't mind. So anything else besides what you see there? Okay, thanks, Meg. Procrastinating and overwhelmed. Yeah, it's really hard when you're thinking about moving to a new place because you're not even really there. So you can't just walk down the street or meet people or go to networking events. Okay, +1 to Meg. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I would say that since it's a small crowd, I'll be able to read most of the things you put in the chat. So thanks for using it. And I think you'll get most value if we just engage in this conversation today. Also, I forgot to mention this, but I am recording. You probably see my recording there, and I'm going to send out a replay. So if you don't feel comfortable being on the video, you can turn your video off or tell me later. Yeah. So, okay, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Elizabeth. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think it's really normal if you're, working to kind of have time go by and think that you're going to make a change, but not getting started on it. Um, Yeah, that's really frustrating, Matt. I think we can help you with that. If you don't get all the answers that you are looking for just in this lunchtime, feel free to book discovery call. It's free. We just listen to what your situation is and then hopefully offer some advice within the call. Um, Oh, that's so tough, Kathleen, having multiple LinkedIn profiles and trying to fix that technology problem. So many of my clients have been there, so I think I can help you with that. That's super frustrating. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the discomfort that's brought you here today, but let's talk about like what would be great if things change. So, some of you said you're not having success in the job search, or you're not sure about what you're going to do next, or how to fit a career into everything you've got going on in your life. So some of the things that people talk about is, I want to wake up in the morning and feel excited to go to work. I'd like to make more money because I have bills and a vacation. I'm having trouble saving with what's going on now. Some of you are in the job search and you really want to get more interviews because you know that once you get an interview, you are they know you can do the job. All of a sudden, you're so much closer to getting the job. And then having competing offers before the end of the summer. I really think that's possible for people who are super focused on the job search right now. And emotional safety. Everyone wants to feel like their life and career will be stable. And just given, the outside world, it's a bit unstable right now. And more people are thinking, I want something that I'm going to feel like it's going to stick. So I don't want to be risking a lot of things. I would like a stable career and a career where I can see growth. Share something that you would really want when you land your next job or in order to get the job. What do you really want to have happen right now in your career? Anyone? You can also just unmute and say something. I think that a lot of things you talked about in the last chat sort of covered some of these things, like landing jobs, understanding how to focus your job search, finding a job in a new area. Okay. Having a sense of purpose. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Matt. So sometimes it's like it feels like you're not sure what you want, and it's sort of clouded, but if you can lift that a little bit, your goals are probably clear. Yeah. One thing about some of the things that we're going to do is what I find with career coaching is that people can feel really discouraged. And then once you start to take even the smallest action, when we get a really smart foundation put in place and a plan, and we take even one or two small actions towards the plan, that starts to build the feeling of hope. And hope motivates a little bit more action. And all of a sudden, you're moving forward and making progress. And when that happens, you start to feel more confident. And so it's like this snowballing effect, and all of a sudden you're on the road to making progress in your career. So a lot of the career coaching is like really tactical stuff, but what's happening and making it really work, like you could go online and find advice for how to land a new job, but sometimes when you're working with someone who's sort of your partner and advocate, it really builds that internal emotional foundation, which makes things happen faster. Okay, let's see. So just a quick story about my journey, so you know who's in front of you today. Some of you I know, and some of you are brand new here. So for those of you who know me, you know the story a little bit. But I started in marketing research in San Francisco, was producing software, moved to the East Coast. I really kind of worked hard a lot, climbing up the ladder, getting great feedback, but something was always missing. And that was kind of the piece that I was so uncomfortable with. And when I finally found my passion and put a plan in place, literally everything changed. And it's so exciting to know I can help other people do that. Oops. Let's see. Okay, so, oops, no, I skipped one. Okay, so basically, just so you can, relate to what I was feeling, because we talked about that, and I was asking you how you were feeling, because you spend so much of your time at work, if you're not happy, it kind of bleeds into everything else. And like for me, when my friends and family would hear me not just complaining, but always coming up with ideas of other things I was going to do, but never following through with them. And that just kind of started to build that sense of discomfort and that unsettling feeling. And truly, what happened for me was I was in a counseling program, and there was one career counseling class, and the light bulb went off. This is what I want to do. But not only that, in the program, I was going through all the steps of career counseling that now I help other people with. So it was like finally finding what I wanted to do, having that light bulb go off, but then seeing and having someone teach me the steps of making it happen was so powerful. And that's what I really want to bring to you today. So a couple things that I'm seeing in the summer trends, just, the whole point of this webinar kind of, is one thing I mentioned at the beginning is that a lot of job seekers kind of slow down a little bit and take a little time off. So if you charge in, I think this is a really good time. The return to office has definitely been a thing, which means that candidates are leaving positions, which creates openings. I mean, it can create competition, but I'm seeing it create openings for people who are looking for jobs and they don't mind going into the office in their local area. Technology like AI is sort of sneaking away some middle management responsibilities. So for those of you who are kind of in the middle tier, I'm kind of recommending, if possible, shoot a little bit higher. This is the time to kind of position yourself to make a jump. The fields that I see growing right now and hiring actively at the moment include IT, the things I've got here, finance, consultancy, manufacturing, healthcare, logistics. There are others. I just didn't want to put them all on the screen, but the idea is that people are hiring. And then there's a lot of talk from recruiters about, well, AI creates a problem because so many people are just sort of using AI and sending off hundreds of applications. So it's a crowded market, but with hard to read and hard to sift through materials. So I would say use AI as a tool to make sure you've got the right things in your materials, but not to write the content. And recruiters are also complaining that they're getting so many applications from people who actually don't have the skills. They're not complete applications, and they don't show like that they really thought through what company they were applying to. So the point really is to take the time to apply for jobs that are a good fit for you. Really focus in and do due diligence with networking, that the sort of fewer, it's not really a numbers game in job searching, it's more of a tactical game. So are there any things that you're seeing or questions that you have about things you've seen in the summer trends you're wondering about? If there's anything that's coming up in your mind, I just want to give you a chance to put it in the chat. You can also use that little hand raising thing if you want to. I can see everybody. Okay. I'm going to move on to, okay, so let's get into the 3 strategies that I wanted to go over today. They are career direction and your elevator pitch and working on your resume. And, since there's only a small number of people here today, we should be able to answer most of your questions and see your comments in the chat. But if not, just feel free to reach out to me after the call and say, hey, I put that question in the chat. I never got an answer. So don't hesitate to reach out. But so career direction, honestly, when people come to me and they've been having a lot of trouble with the job search, the biggest problem that I see is that people haven't spent the time to think about what is really a good fit and what's the right job for them, what they're looking for. So when you're, kind of dying to get a job and you're spending a lot of time on Indeed, you can really be canvassing a wide market. And sort of what I was saying on the last slide, it's really good to focus in and take the time to find out what's going to really be a good career for you, because it's going to look like a good match to the employer too, and you're more likely to be happy and stay longer. So the way that I want to encourage you to start thinking about this is through the 3-question clarity quick hit. So the first one is about what energizes you at work. So when you think about when you're in your flow or when you're doing something where time flies at work, I don't think fishing counts unless you're going into that career. But tell me in the chat, take a moment to think about it, and what are you doing when time flies in some of your last jobs over the course of your career? What are you actively engaged in when you feel like the hours just go by and you're happy and energized? Also, if you've got notes, like a pen and paper next to you, you can write as many things as you want down. You don't have to limit to the one thing you put in the chat because this is a good time to sort of think about that. Okay, Farnak, I see what you're saying about trying new technologies and not being stuck in the sprint. Facilitating engaging conversations. I love that. Seeking trust building, seeing trust build among teams. Digging into conversations or data to build or reveal something. Yeah, that happens to me too. Anyone else? Yeah, not being stressed at work and knowing that you have work-life balance because of that, or vice versa. Let's see, Kathleen's coming back. Elizabeth, did you want to put anything in the chat? Okay, project management tasks. Okay. I think one of the things that this highlights too is that everybody has different things to bring, and that's what kind of makes organizations tick. So that's really exciting. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the question 2, which is a little bit more deep. What impact do you want to have professionally? So, or at work. So completing the sentence, the professional impact I most want to have is, and some examples might be like, I want to develop software that will save nurses time, or I want to help struggling families with their finances, or it could be like, I just want to make people happy scooping ice cream. It doesn't matter what it is. It just has to be yours. What, at the end of the day, what would be something that would make you proud? It can be small, big. That's a great one, helping people with AI and tech. I think there's a lot of people out there wondering, I saw a post on LinkedIn today where someone was saying, I have to admit, I'm just kind of moving slowly with AI, and I think a lot of people don't know how to go. So that's really exciting. Helping organizations build positive, healthy work cultures. I love that. And if, I think I was saying this before, but if you're thinking about these questions and you're like, I have no idea how to start with these answers, you should book a call because we can help you with this. And I think it's important. This is really foundational in terms of everything that's going to happen from here with your career. So I hope everyone has something at least on their note paper or in terms of an idea of a type of impact or an arena, an area of work they would like to be working in if they don't have specific impact like the 2 that have posted in the chat. And don't hesitate to put questions in the chat too, if anything comes up. So let's move on to question 3, which is after doing these questions 1 and 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, how aligned would you say that your current role is with the energizing activities that you thought about and the impact that you would want to have? Where 1 is my current role isn't anywhere near aligned, and 10 is perfectly aligned. Pop into the chat how you would rate your alignment. I imagine probably, okay, thank you, Paul. 1, we probably got like, Meg, you're looking for, you're doing what you love, but you need to do it someplace else. You're Matt, okay. Thanks for being, willing to put yourself out there, guys. Because it's not a great place to be feeling 1.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just because I'm looking for work. If I was actively engaged in it, it would probably be a different number.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk more about, what you're looking for.
But I would echo that, Matt. I think, I don't even know how to come up with a number, because when I'm doing the work, it's I just can't find the work.
Yeah, I would love to help out someone doing something. Just give me an opportunity.
Okay, gotcha, Kathleen. I see. 3. Okay. Okay. So, if you were all working and had scores, I would say anything below a 7 is shows a little bit of a clarity gap. When you're job searching, of course, there's a huge unknown in terms of the alignment piece. And I guess the one hopeful thing is that I feel like if we can work on getting really focused, then maybe we can get your job search going faster. And when the job search is going faster, then you kind of have more power to go, okay, maybe I can pick and choose, and how can I pick the one that has the greatest alignment? So hopefully we can work together on that. All right, let's see. Okay, just want to make sure I haven't missed anything there. Okay. All right, so one of the clients that I worked with, Anthony, he was at the same company for 20 years, pretty much cruising along, and then got recruited for a new role and thought, great, this is fallen into my lap. It's an awesome opportunity to do, to move up. And it turned out to be a really bad fit. It just didn't work out. And that was just a completely pivotal moment in a bad way, that he lost his stability and thought, wait, everything was up for question. What am I doing with my career? Why didn't that work out? Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, and all these questions, and sort of felt like at that point he was a 4. And what we worked on was really digging into the energizing activities. So what are the things that he was doing over those 20 years that really, lit him up? And you can see some of the things like solving problems, building relationships. And once he had that clarity and started to feel that hope that I was talking about, then we revamped his materials, got the job search going, and he landed a job in 6 weeks. So that really was just the foundation that made the big difference for him. every client kind of has a different place where they really need help, but I'm trying to share a few that really took advantage of these specific points that I'm going through in the webinar. And it sounds like, you know, several of you are on the job search, so it's not exactly about getting the raise right now. I see the need that a lot of you have is, you know, figuring out the direction and getting more traction in the search. Okay, so the second thing we're going to work on, I hope I'm doing okay on the time, yeah, is the elevator pitch, which may sound kind of simplistic, but trust me, it's really helpful. And when you go through this exercise, you're building on that career direction piece. And this is really helpful when you're headed towards, you know, interviews and applications. And of course, during the networking process. So an elevator pitch is a very short summary of who you are professionally, what you do, and the value that you bring to the workforce. And I want you to have an elevator pitch that you really love so that you can hit some networking in the next couple of weeks and take advantage of the summer to hopefully get direction and land your job. And some of the things that happen, because I've got people on here who are wondering what to do next, is that you come up with an elevator pitch that's a draft, and then you get out there and float it a few times, and you might adjust it a little bit. But let's get one working today that you can use to start talking to people. The elevator pitch formula is simple. I am a project manager, marketing assistant, administrative coordinator. So whatever your role is today, who, and then your biggest achievement. And I'm looking for a specific target. So what job you're looking for, where I can, and then the impact. So you know what your role is, or what the role you had was, and maybe you need to kind of work on that a little bit in terms of how the exact words you're using, but you know what you've done so far or what you're doing today. And we just talked a little bit about what you would like your impact to be. So what we're going to do is talk about your achievement and then your target and try to put an elevator pitch together. So here's an example on the screen of an elevator pitch that's pretty good because it includes the role, a result, and then talks about the target role looked for, the target job, and the impact I'd like to have. So I'm a marketing professional who increased social media engagement by 200% in 6 months for an international clothing brand, and I'm looking for a senior marketing role where I can drive digital transformation. So it's still a little vague. It could use some work, but it's all the pieces that you would need. So what I want you to do first is to think about a good achievement. So share one professional achievement if you're willing to, that relates to the energizing activities that we talked about in the first section. So what's something that you've done that you would talk about in an interview? Give me an example of something you're proud of from your past work. So write down one achievement. And if you can, you can include metrics, like any kind of numbers, like I did this in 3 months, or I saved the company some money, or I managed a team of 5. The reason I say that, sometimes it can be hard to think of metrics, but they usually can be found, and numbers really pop off the page on a resume. So and applicant tracking systems look for them. So it's always helpful. So who would be willing to drop into the chat an achievement? Okay, let's see, Matt. I'm a journalist, editor, producer who use data and systems thinking to improve equity by 12%. Awesome. And community engagement. I'm looking for a data analyst or audience insight role where I can drive similar growth and impact, ideally for nonprofit or mission-driven organizations. Okay. That looks really good. Is there anything, since you've got the whole statement there, anything, I'm just looking at the role. So journalist, editor, producer, is that something that you kind of?
Yeah, this is the challenge, I think, or the uniqueness, and I'll try not to waste everybody else's time with my little world. But yeah, I've just been in public radio for almost 17 years. But while I was doing that, I was like developing these data analysis skills, and then I was part of a layoff a year ago. So it's also what's contributing a little bit to, or a lot to, my lack of focus in the job hunt, because I have all this on paper formal roles that don't include data analysis, audience analytics, but I kind of took on those responsibilities and did them as I was working because I was so interested in them, and I also believe that and knew that they could be more widely applicable, right? You can use those tools to do other things for other organizations, but that has led to, you could argue, a lack of focus, right? Because I could be applying and have been applying to all kinds of different jobs simply because I have all this experience in those roles previously. But
Yeah.
sorry, I'll stop monopolizing the time.
Yep, I hear you. No, that's fine. I think of the job search a little bit like, for someone like you, particularly like a target, like, and that you shoot arrows at, and you want to start in the bullseye. So coming up with the elevator pitch that is your dream, is the one. Forget about, like, I mean, if you have no skills in the area, then it's probably not that realistic, but sounds like you do, even though it wasn't on paper with the job responsibilities, maybe in something you were hired to do, but you've actually done it because you were interested in it. So I boil this down to the one that you would just be like, wow, if I'm going to say this about myself, I'm just charged up and that's the job I really want. So if I was going to work with you, maybe offline on it, that's what we would do, is give a little bit more color to define the role, a little bit more. I think your achievement one is really good. Maybe get more specific on it to make sure it really is clear to the reader what you're talking about, and then choose the data analyst or audience insight role, boil that down into one thing, and maybe instead of ideally just defining that, saying that's what you want to do, because this is like you can always extend out, but what is the dream elevator pitch, and then we'll hit the market with that, and then kind of adjust as you go. But thank you for sharing.
No, thank you. That was really helpful.
Okay, and Farnak, I remember when we met, you go by something else for your first name, right?
Yes, that was Zara.
Zara, okay. So I knew that, and I just felt a little saying,
Zara.
Thank you.
But this is my Persian name that I prefer to be called by this.
Which one?
Faranak.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, in the last year, I published 2 papers, right, which is impressive related to my major. Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, that's a great achievement. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So the next one, so everyone's got something written down there, right? The next step is to define a target. And again, it doesn't have to be, I would say pick one. Like, you can have your elevator pitch can evolve and you might have a few things you're thinking about, but just for today, pick one. Like, what specific role would let you have more of the impact that you talked about and thought about in the first step of the career direction? So what job title, and it might not be, you can pick one and then we'll come up with, the right one, or there could be 5 job titles for the same kind of role. So it might not be, the one you're always going to use, but what target role? So, and you want to be specific. You don't just want to say like, I'm looking for a better job, but you want to say something like, I'm looking for a role as a marketing manager in healthcare technology, or Elizabeth, I'm not sure what your career is, but you're looking for something that went along with your major, whatever the first job or two in that field would be, that title. So try to come up with a title, the target title of the job you'd be looking for. Does anyone have any ideas they want to share? And I would say that while we're working on this, Matt's already drafted one in the chat. Oh, I see Kathleen. Thank you. I didn't see that. That's a great, okay, thank you. Wow, okay, those are big achievements. That's awesome. Audience insight analyst, thank you. Yep. Okay, Meg. We'll have to take this offline. But there's so many. Since I already know you a little bit, I can come up with some ideas. All right, so what are the different, Meg, if you had to put like, if you're not going to be concise, what would you write?
Well, so right now I'm looking for a leadership position in a company committed to social and environmental justice, which feels like I'm blathering on, right? And that's part of the challenge for me, is the whole consulting piece. I'm an OD consultant who helps organizations improve their workplace culture, clarifying and aligning their vision and values. And so, similar to what Matt was saying, like, that could be potentially in any industry. Like, the industry itself is less relevant to me than the work that I do and the value that I can bring, and that's part of what I get stuck on.
Okay. Is there any way to narrow down what type of environment you would want to be working in? I'm looking, the smile means no, right?
No, the smile means I'm not sure how to say that in a kind way. Like, I don't want to work with a bunch of jerks.
Good people. Okay.
And that's where, like, okay, social environmental justice is like my, code word for not interested in working in a, patriarchal, heterosexist, blah, blah, blah environment. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're still giving definition to what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I think there are ways so you have to kind of separate like what's helpful in your elevator pitch. When you're talking to people, you might want to say, I'm looking for a really collaborative, healthy environment, or like Catherine says, mission driven, could be mission driven. And then there's the other side of it, which is thinking about like, well, then what company you're moving. So what organizations and companies fall under that? you know, and even the ones that you think, you know, you get that umbrella, and then you still need to weed out, you know, you need to get in, talk to people, meet people, find out how organizations operate. I think that finding a good team is some work, takes some work, no matter what kind of organization, corporation, institution you're looking for. So, but that's like your core values, you know?
Exactly. No, that's incredibly helpful. Thanks.
Okay. So, all right. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I had a client named Katie, and she basically, you know, said, I do administrative work, but she had so many roles and did so much work and wasn't making that much money. And you know, had been, I think, just not getting enough recognition for all the awesome things she was doing. So didn't really see all these transferable skills, and didn't know how to position herself professionally. So we basically launched with a new elevator pitch, which is this: I'm a project manager who led a regulatory project that saved the agency $200K. And all of a sudden she's like, oh, right. And that's where that whole confidence piece came in. So she landed a job within 8 weeks after kind of getting this elevator pitch and then deploying it, do a lot of networking within the field. So that this whole piece of really getting that clarity, we're still kind of, you know, focusing in on that, was just super helpful. So then I think we have just a few minutes left, but that's okay. I want to go through some quick resume things with you. A few quick highlights. Again, AI is all the buzz, and there's a lot of things coming out about how, you know, the recruiters are feeling like the market is just flooded because people are using AI and just, you know, submitting these applications. But I would just be really judicious in how you use AI. And it's a great way to like run a job description through, get the keywords, fold those in to your you know, in your resume and in your achievements. You know, if you're doing project management and they say, you know, at project execution, I mean, this is a tiny example, but just say project execution, you know, use exactly what they use if it's something that you're doing. But don't do the whole cover letter in AI. And I have lots of cover letter tips. I probably have some things on my website. I'm happy to give you advice on that kind of stuff. But you know, your resume is kind of like your personal advertisement. It's not really a list of responsibilities anymore. It's like someone has to drive by it like a personal billboard and get the message right away. So it's this whole game of organizing the data in the right way so people's eye moves quickly, the right things pop off the page, and they think, oh, right, you know, Matt, data analyst. Oh, I see that. He's got the skills. Let's go to his LinkedIn and find out more. It's very quick. So that's why it makes sense to, you know, spend a lot of time paring it down and be really intentional, but not using AI completely for all the content and writing. And then the other thing that people have been talking about a lot is 1 page, 2 pages, what do you think? And all the recruiters that I've been talking to lately basically said, we never look at a resume like page. We just see a file and we scroll it. So if you need to go to 1 page and a quarter, 1 page and 3/4, 1.5, I wouldn't second guess it at this point. I don't think it matters. So get the information that you need. You do want to, you know, since it's not viewed that long, it has to be all really good stuff. But I wouldn't worry too much about whether it's a 1 page or not. And then just super quickly, we're going to pop in the chat a resume tips document that I put together for you. And since the time is going really quickly anyway, hopefully that will be helpful to flesh this out a little bit more. You're also going to get a follow-up from this this workshop with the step-by-step. It's like a worksheet, step-by-step what we went through, and you can fill it in, and it'll give you all the tips. So if there's anything that you wanted to remember or write down again, you'll get that after the call. But the idea basically is to make your bullets, so the content that you've got in your experience section, you want to think of it like highlights. Like, these are my professional highlights. Read a couple of these, and wouldn't you like to find out more? So they should be very action oriented. So an action verb, a specific task, a measurable result. So, and you're seeing some trends with the elevator pitch, like everything has to be kind of, really action and result oriented, and then folding in keywords in those bullets from the job description. And the great thing about taking the time to do this with your resume, which can feel like a lot of annoying work. It's super hard to work on your resume. It's hard to think about yourself this way, but this is the work that helps you ace an interview, because these are the stories that you're going to flesh out more when you're talking with someone. And now you've got them kind of boiled down here. So it's really helpful foundational work, getting it boiled down in your resume, and then thinking about how you're going to talk about it later. So I've got an example here: manage social media accounts. And the bullet that we turned it into was led social media strategy that boosted engagement and generated 30 qualified leads per month. So it's just more impactful. Does anyone have a bullet from there? Let me just check. We're probably a couple minutes left, but from their resume, they wanted to even pop into the chat. Thank you, Farnak, for letting us know the link's not working. We'll definitely fix that right after the call.
Yeah, that's how the QA engineer is. Fill the box, find the box.
That's awesome.
See, I'm good.
I know you are good. I know. So actually, one of the things I wanted to say when we were in the elevator pitch section was that, here you are with a group of professionals. Feel free to drop your LinkedIn link in the chat. At least maybe write down other people's names. There might be people here that you would like to have follow-up conversations with, or
Okay, I'll do it.
why not connect on LinkedIn? So go ahead and please feel free to put your contact information in the chat.
I would be happy to be in touch with everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So let's see, Meg. Okay.
That's
great.
just one of the things that I had. I used to have a lot of metrics for each thing, and now, now that I'm not 30, like it's hard to narrow down and just identify. But fortunately, I'm working with your resume guy, and so we're figuring it out.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I would just say, tell me more about like $666,000 in federal funds to do what? Like what? Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
And then the same thing with the grant applications, like what kind of grant and what happened to the grantees after you were supporting and monitoring them. And yeah, and so Erica, kind of the same thing, decreased appointment cancellations from 40 to 10%. Tell me more about appointment cancellations for what? And then did that mean that there were more visits? Is it a healthcare thing, or is it sales appointments? More about the results, because the numbers look really good. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so Michelle, she was, I guess, similar to you, maybe Elizabeth, recently out of college, kind of stuck in a retail job, not making the salary she wanted, applying to jobs that she completely had the skills for, but not getting any interviews. And we revamped her resume to kind of fold in all of her transferable skills and bump up the professional approach. And she landed an offer right away. I think I had eight weeks here, so within 2 months. And it's kind of hard right out of college right now to figure out how to crack the market. And I think people underestimate how many skills they have that are of value. So yeah. I think the resume piece really helps, and combined with the elevator pitch and networking. So I hope that you feel a little bit like there's hope on the horizon, a little bit of positive energy. I think this is a really good time to job search. I'd be happy to have a free consultation with any of you about ideas, about your situation. So I think Erica's put the call on the in the chat, and then hopefully the resume link is working. If not, we'll make sure we get that later. And I just wanted to share some information about the group coaching program. It's kind of an affordable way to get into career coaching and make changes over the summer because you're doing it with a group. Some of the advantages are, of course, we're gonna talk really practically about cracking the job search, and you're gonna be popped into a networking group as part of the group coaching. I'm gonna work on helping you develop your own career plan and discovering what your goals are, whether it's money, happiness, or whatever, and figuring out how to reach it. So it'll definitely be short-term and long-term planning. It's 6 weeks. The modules basically go from more in depth on this whole career clarity and direction. So really figuring out where your best fit in the marketplace is and how to get there. And then your materials, making sure your professional branding is excellent, figuring out how to use all the tools that are out there for really good networking, because the name of the game is people, and I'm going to help you crack the code on that. Interviewing, we have an online interviewing app that we use, and also we do mock interviews and kind of talk about all of our training, working with recruiters and HR hiring managers now about what is happening with interviews today. And then we'll move into what to do to grow your career and how to get your career plan set so you're really not only enjoying it today, but as I wrote here, living the life that you love, the life that you want. So I hope you'll join us for this program. It comes with an online course, the workbook, a private LinkedIn community where you can ask a coach anytime, and also network with people who are in the group, a resume review. All the sessions are recorded. It's $9.99 for the 6-week program. And obviously you've seen the consultation link in the chat. If you book a call in the next 24 hours, and it could just be a discovery call, I will offer a separate private LinkedIn revamp for you. So please do. I think that's a great way to get noticed and sort of learn the latest techniques with LinkedIn, because that's also changing really quickly. So how did I do? 106. Okay. So again, I'm really grateful for you showing up, and I hope to see you all on a call. I think all of the things that you mentioned that you want are achievable and fixable, and I really understand how frustrating it is to tackle the job search with all the nuances today. So I'd love to help you. Please don't feel like you have to do it alone. And let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to stay on and talk to anyone. Otherwise, you will receive, again, a follow-up worksheet from this session and the resume tips. And hopefully, if you remembered the Instagram post, which is at the beginning, you could be the recipient of the Career Transition Workbook. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Holly.
Take care, Paul.
Thanks. That was great.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you joined.
Yeah.
It's
the
good to
same.
see you.
Yeah, same. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. It was so nice to meet all.
Bye, Matt. Hi, Kathleen.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Already on to next thing.
Yeah,
was
no
great.
problem.
Thank you very much, Holly. And I'm sorry I was driving and
Oh, gosh, no
doing
problem.
things at once. So,
here.
all right, I will sign off, or you can. Thank you.
Okay. What did you mean? I think the presentation is gone. Wait, I can't hear you.
I couldn't see the presentation for the last 10 minutes. But it was fine because the only thing that, like, you weren't covering stuff that needed a presentation.
What was there? Because it shows I'm screen sharing the presentation.
Maybe it's just me then. Like, maybe I accidentally pinned you. I like got confused.
Weird.
I know.
Okay, well, who cares?
If you see it, no one else said anything about it, so that's fine. But it stopped sharing after Katie.
That 40 people signed up, and how many people were there? 7?
7, but honestly, that happens so often. And I think that those 7 people got a lot out of it, and it looks like a few of them will book a consultation.
Yeah.
Matt definitely will.
He will?
Farna already did.
Oh, good.
I don't know who Meg is, but she seemed to like it.
Yeah, she's already working with Chris, the resume guy.
Right. Yeah, I think it was really good, Mom. You did a good job. You came off really well.
Okay, thanks. I mean, once I do it once, I might just do the same sort of variation again, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. Because at the beginning, oh my God, what am I doing? Why did I do this?
No, you did really well. I wouldn't like honestly, you could keep it pretty much the same, just change the like meet a new client instead of doing Katie again. You know what I mean?
Your hair looks so cute. How
Thanks.
long?
It's still long.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, it's so pretty.
No, I really like the darker actually.
Me
It
too.
looks like my natural color.
Look darker. It just looks smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look darker. Like it's not like you don't look blonde.
Yeah, no, I definitely look blonde, but it's more my natural color, not highlighted.
Yeah, right.
I think you did a good job. I think it was great.
Thanks. Yeah.
The resume tip thing, the link, I think was like a link to your editing page instead of a link to the live page. So I just like cropped the link to where it looked like it probably was meant to stop, and it was right.
Oh, weird. Okay, I must have been logged into my website, like the back
Maybe,
end.
yeah.
I love that. I love that woman who showed up.
Farnak, Zara, yeah.
On the Rowe Institute, and it looked like she was there today, unless it was a fake background.
I liked Matt also. He seemed very engaged.
Yeah, and Paul I've known forever.
Oh, that's nice that he
used to
came.
work together in California ages ago. That's really nice that he showed up.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your help. That was so fun to do it together.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm going to pay you for that. I had this for my motivation.
Aw. I mean, they looked really grateful. Like, I think a lot of the things that you said to people directly about the things that they posted, everyone was like, oh, didn't even think of that. So that's good.
That was actually great to have a small group that way.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I thought, okay, I'm not worried at all about you know, in
Anything.
fact, maybe I would just say, like in other times, like I'm doing a webinar, I'm taking 10 people.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty good. I mean, you won't get as many sales, but I mean, it's not like I got more than
Then
10.
but then it becomes more personal anyway.
I think I'm just going to give everybody the workbook.
Yeah, do it.